North Carolina underwater. The Tar Heel state reeling from the wrath of Hurricane Matthew that left at least 22 dead in the U.S. Southeast and thousands more stranded as floodwaters continue to rise. Here now, Michael Brown, former director of FEMA. And Michael, you know too well that this is only the beginning, in particular for those in North Carolina. Many without power, businesses still underwater. What are the next steps for the state?
Well, this is always the frustrating part of me when these hurricanes, or for that matter, these tropical storms move through, is the floodwaters always follow behind, and people are going to learn several things. One, they're going to learn that maybe if they didn't actually have flood insurance, they're not going to have coverage for the damage, structural damage, loss of personal property, and everything else. And the same is true of businesses. And I think the other thing is there's a misperception or a misconception, I'm not sure which word, that FEMA or the federal government's going to swoop in and make those people who didn't have flood insurance, make them whole again. And that's simply not the case. FEMA's going to provide some stopgap measures, give people some temporary housing, maybe some temporary cost to replace some personal items, but they can't, and frankly, we just never have made people whole. So
well,
we're going to have...
What ability does FEMA have right now to help the folks that have lumbered to North Carolina? We're looking at these pictures. You've got a levee that broke. You've got 1,500 people right now that are trapped. I mean, this is just because the sky is clear does not mean that these folks are not out of danger. Can FEMA help them?
That's right, and that's a different situation. In that situation where you have an ongoing, disasters are divided up into four different phases, but there's the response phase, and what's going on in North Carolina right now where the levee broke is indeed a response phase. And FEMA can help the state in that regard by providing additional Department of Defense resources, providing additional monetary resources to the state to actually get those people out of harm's way. I think to the larger picture, though, those things will happen, and FEMA has been doing and will do what it's supposed to do in the aftermath and during the storms. What I always worry about is in the aftermath, when the power is out, and look, these utilities will come in and do everything they can to get power restored as quickly as possible. But too many people think that, well, as soon as the power company comes in, they can get the power restored to my block. Well, it takes time to get to their block. And you might be the last block somebody gets to.
And it could be days,
I don't think people are always prepared for that.
It could be months. We've gone through this with Sandy in this area. We've seen this happen in New Orleans when you were there, of course, running FEMA. So, Michael, it's going to be a while, sadly, for these folks. Michael Brown, former FEMA director, thank you for your insight on this story.